Hey there, Astroventures. Today I wanted to take a moment and show you a new way that I have adjusted my editing of my astrophotography images. I happened to stumble upon some techniques from a 2-year dormant astrophotography channel, but I liked some of the technique, pulled some of it in, and tweaked it between what I was already doing and what they were doing on that channel, and I'm going to share that with you. So let's get started here. I open up an image. This is a 32-bit image of M27, the Dumbbell Nebula, and because it's in 32-bit, it initially comes up with this little warning message, and we're going to simply click OK. Now, Photoshop, working with this and the different tools that we're going to be using, it wants the image to be in 16-bit. So that's image mode, and then down here to 16-bit. If your image is already 16-bit, you don't have to worry about this at all. Now with the 16-bit, you notice the moment I clicked on it and kicked it over, it got super bright. You're going to come over here to local adaptation, and you're going to hit exposure and gamma to adjust that back. If your image was already 16-bit, you don't have to worry about that. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is hit Control-J to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to name this as Threshold. And we're going next up here to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and then Threshold. Now what this is doing is we're going to set the black point and the white point of our image. Now this little box up here that says info, I would normally bring this up by hitting the function key of F8. However, I don't want to do that with the fact that my screen recorder recognizes F8 as something else. So we're going to just let that be, and it's already here. But this was F8 to bring this up. Next, we're going to hit the shortcut key of I, and the I will bring up the eyedropper, and it's over here. Now, if it didn't bring up the eyedropper, you can see the little eyedropper with the crosshair in there. If it didn't bring that up, you would right-click over here, because here's the traditional eyedropper tool to sample a color. And then this is the color sampler tool that's going to work with this window that we had brought up. So that's the one we want, is the color sampler tool and not the eyedropper. Okay, over here on the threshold window, we're going to grab this little marker, bring it over into the data. You'll notice how the image went black and solid white. Now I'm going to hit the letter Z. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to go back to the letter I to get that color sampler brought back up. And in this image here, I'm going to find a nice black area, and I'm going to take a sample of that color. Now I'm going to move the sampler over this bright white area. The area that is sampled is actually at the end of the eyedropper and not where the crosshair is, just so you know. Okay, so I'm over in this black area. I'm going to left click one time. That took my black sample. Now I'm going to come into the middle of this bright white star, and I'm going to left click one more time, and this is my white sample. This threshold, you can now left click and drag it down to the trash can. We won't be needing it any longer. Hitting the shortcut key of Z to the magnifying glass. I'm going to tell it to fit the screen, and here we go. We've now got our image that we're going to be working with. We've got our black sample, and we have our white sample. Now over here on this layer that's labeled Threshold, Control-J, and I am going to label this one as Starless. And to remove my stars, I'm going to come up here to Filter, down to RC Astro, and I'm going to use Star Exterminator. Now, Star Exterminator is a pay-for program. Let me deviate for a quick moment. There's this large tile overlap. As it says, it increases the overlap between as it cuts it up into tiles to remove the stars. I have a machine with an i9 and lots of cores and all of that stuff, and my machine doesn't mind doing the large tile overlap. If your machine is not quite up for it, it can really bog it down. And as the little pop-up says, it's really not needed for most, but since I have the horsepower in my computer, I go ahead and click it. but we'll click OK and let that run. Now, Star Exterminator is a pay-for program. However, you can use StarNet. There's the version 2 that came out quite some time ago. Both programs are great. I'm not going to say that one is necessarily any better than the other. It kind of depends on the various images. For some images, one works better than the other, and vice versa. What I really like about the Star Exterminator is, I want to say it was somewhere around $60. I know it's less than $100, but it stays within the Photoshop program, and I don't have to go out of it. Where with Star Exterminator, you need to take the image, save it as a TIFF file, go to the application of where you have the StarNet program, open that window, bring it in, give it an output name of no stars, run the program. In my opinion, it runs a bit slower than the Star Exterminator does. It then saves that image, and then you have to bring it back into Photoshop, where the Star Exterminator is just more seamless with the fact that it works in the program, and so that's why I like to have the Star Exterminator. So normally this runs much faster on this machine with my i9, but with the screen recorder it really slows it down. Okay, so here you have in front of you the image with all of the stars removed, and we're going to go ahead and get into this and start editing, and I'm going to show you this technique that I had picked up on. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control J on the starless level, and I'm going to start working with this starless copy. And this one here I'm going to actually rename to Starless 1, and this will be where I first start to do all of the image work that I'm going to do, and I'm going to leave the first layer starless alone so that if this goes badly, I can throw all those layers away and come back to it. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control L, and Control L is going to bring up my levels here. And with this, we're going to watch these numbers over here on this info window, which came up with the key of F8. And we're going to move this little marker over. Now, I'm moving this over to set the new black point. As I do this, taking a look at the info window, you'll notice that I have a 9, a 13, and a 6. I want to match these numbers up now. As I brought the marker over, I didn't go into the data because I don't want to cut any of the data off, and I stopped at the foot of that data. The lowest point is on the blue channel, marked at, or scoring it at a 6. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over to my red, and as I slide this marker over, I'm going to watch the number 9 and bring it down to a 6. Now the reason why I'm doing this and why I like this is because I'm bringing, now I'll move on to green, I'm bringing each one of the channel colors to the same start point of black. And then as I stretch them, I'm not going to be worried about the top end of each color channel because, there's certain colors. There's a bit more green in here than there is red. Not exactly sure where the blue's going to fall, but it's the fact that I want to set a constant black point and then allow the colors to fall where they're going to fall. So here we go. I have all of the channels lined up back to a black point of 6. I'm going to hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is hit Control M, and this will bring up my curves. I'm going to go down to arc sign 10. I will leave the information for where you can find these arc sign curves, and in a moment I'll show you how these work. But what it does is it stretches the data. These were put together, they are out there and available and free for you to grab. The one thing is that I will link as to where you can go and find this information. You do have to put it into a folder within Photoshop. The information that's with the arc sign folder to get these is kind of out of date as to where exactly you place it, but you'll figure it out. I know it took me a little bit of time. But anyway, you'll want to spend the time because the arc signs are absolutely worth having. So arc sign 10, and then I'm going to click OK. Now, so that you can see, this is what it did look like. This is what the arc sign did. Now, you'll notice that my black point has changed. It went from 6 and it jumped back up. So I'm going to hit Control L to bring those levels back up. I will slide the marker over to the foot of where the data starts. I'm looking over here. I'm at a 9, 8, and a 9. And I'll go ahead and tweak my red over to that 8. I'm going to tweak the blue over to the 8. And I'm going to hit OK. So I reset my black on here. Now I'm going to hit Control M. And we're going to do another arc sign 10. And click OK. Now you'll notice outside along the edge, this is where the data is starting to fall apart a little bit. But that's okay, because we're going to reset that black point again. So we'll go to Control L. We'll start to slide the little marker over to where the data starts. And I'm looking over here. I've got an 18, a 19, and a 17. And I'm still not quite to the black that I want. So I am going to slide this in a little bit further. And what I think I'll probably do... yeah, I think I'll probably stop there. So I'm going to go with a 10 as my low point to set my black off of. So I'll come in here, reset the red, bring this over to a 10. I'm going to bring the green over to a 10. And the thing is that, you know, don't sweat trying to get your space image to a pure black. And the reason being is because it's not exactly realistic. You know, space is not as empty as what many of us were taught that it was in school. So here we go. I've readjusted that. I've done this stretch twice. Now what I'm going to do is come over here to my Starless 1. I'm going to hit Control J and duplicate it. I'm going to rename this as Starless 2. And the reason being is because what I have found is generally I can do that stretch and the reset of the levels twice. Going into a third time, it tends to fall apart. And so Starless 1 is where I was happy. Starless 2, we're going to take that third stretch, and I expect it to fall apart. If it does, we'll just dump this. You can see it's really coming apart. We will go ahead and hit the, whoops, wrong one. Control L to bring the levels back up. You can see I'm going to start clipping into things, and I'm watching my black point. And even though as I got it back down to my 910, the image is falling apart. And so as expected, the third stretch was just too much. So I'm going to left click drag and just throw this away here. Now at this point, I'm going to hit Control J one more time, and this is where I'm going to start working in the raw filter, and we'll start tweaking this image. So I'm going to go filter, camera raw, bring this up, and this is where I can start playing with it. I can push my black a little bit darker. I can push my highlights up a bit. Let's see here, push my white, push my black. There we go. I can work with the contrast a bit. Come in here, bump my clarity a bit on there. There we go. That's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that, and you'll notice this background area is looking nice now. Okay, so here we go. We've got this. Now, this is the first time that I did the raw filter cleanup, and I am going to go Control J. This is going to be my raw filter number 2. And in this one here, what I'm going to do is get in there and work on cleaning this up a little bit and see what I can do to bring some detail out in it. So let's go back into filter, and we're going camera raw. I'm going to zoom in on this a bit, and then I am going to push my vibrance up. I'm going to let's see here, bring up some clarity to sharpen that up in there, get some texture going. Now in here, this oranges, peaches color, I want that to be a little bit more red, and so what I'm going to do is come over here to where the hue is, and on the hue I'm going to grab the sliders, and I want to find out exactly where this is falling. And I take that back, not hue, I want to go into saturation, and I want to see exactly where this is falling in the color channels. And so I'm going to grab the red slider, take it all the way down, and I'm looking for colors to mute, and they really didn't. And now I'm going to bring the red all the way up. It didn't affect it, so it tells me this is not in the red channel. Red channel is the wrong way to say it. It's not within the red color. Now I'm going to do that with the orange. There you can see it really muted out the orange, and then I'm going to take it all the way to max, and you can see it really strengthened it there. And last one I'm going to do is to see how this is affecting on the yellow. There's a little bit in that yellow. Now because I want this to be a bit more red than I want it to be orange, and with more time this would have got more red. So what I'm going to do is come over here, push the yellows over in the hues. I'm going to push the yellow over towards the orange. I'm going to push the orange over towards the red, and then I am going into luminance, and I am going to, let's see, we're not quite there yet. I'm not affecting red. So I'm going to come back into the orange, push it further over into the red. So it looks like I'm pretty much all the way over, and now I can strengthen my red. There we go. Yes, that looks much better. Okay, we'll click OK on here. There we go. That's looking a bit better. Now I'm going to go back into my filter, camera raw. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm going to press the letter K, and this is where I can make focused adjustments on this. And I am going to go over to my clarity slider, bring that up, kind of color in here. There we go. And just so you can see the difference. There we go. We've got that difference in there. And then I think I'm going to make sure I get the outside edge here. And then I'm going to push my saturation up a bit more. There we go. Yeah. Now I apologize if this is looking kind of terrible. The my computer program likes to record the one screen, which isn't as nice as the other. But anyway, there we go. Using that clarity, using the saturation, I've brought this up a bit stronger. And I think, check, let's see what we can do with the black. Now, if I slide the black, I'm losing some of my outer detail. Don't want to do that. I think I'm going to leave that right there, and now I'm going to click OK. So here we go. Now, an additional tool that I have that not everybody does, but I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway. You know, I could move forward with this as is, but I'm just going to show this to you. Filter, and then Nik Collection, going into color effects, and there's a tool called tonal contrast, and I really like the tonal contrast. Sorry, it's starting to boot up on my other monitor, but I really like the tonal contrast. It helps to sharpen it up. I really wish that RC Astro's tool, the de-blur or blur exterminator, I think it's called, is available, or was available, or I wish that it was available for Photoshop, but it is not. So, unfortunately, I have to come up with my own ways of doing it. So, here's where we're starting. No difference. I'm going to come over here to the side, and I'm going to click the tonal contrast. And now, I think you can see the difference there. There we go. And I will tell it to apply. Now, this one here, even on my really high horsepower machine, it does take a little bit to bring over the tonal contrast. but I do like it because it helps to sharpen up the image by differentiating in the different tones, and also it works within Photoshop. So there we go. It is now in there and applied. Okay. Now, next thing is I want to bring the stars in. So to do that, I'm happy with this image. This looks good. So I'm actually going to come over here to the side, and I am going to take away these different layers. Yep. Because I'm happy with that. Now, if your machine is getting bogged down with all these different layers, what you can do is delete these extra layers if you're committed and happy, and I am committed and happy. So now I'm down here to my threshold layer. So I'm going to turn off the layer that I did all my editing for M27, and we're going to go ahead and address this background. Boy, we've come a long way. There we go. Okay, so looking at this threshold here, there we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first go ahead and get my colors to a black point. So I'm going Control L. We're going to slide this over. Again, I'm looking over here. Blue is at a 4. I'm going to jump to my green channel, bring that to a 4. Bring my red channel to a 4. There we go. I'm going to click OK. Now what we're going to do is head into Camera Raw, Filter, Camera Raw. Now just to see what I'm dealing with in here, I'm going to take the saturation, push this up to see what's in there. There's a green cast that's coming in, so I will go up here to my color temperature. I'm going to push this a bit towards the red to help bring that down. I'm going to push my blacks darker. I'm going to push my highlights up so that I can get these adjusted. There we go. And now I'm going to, actually I'm going to brighten this back up a bit. And the reason being is that I know there is this defringing that I need to do to get rid of this color here. So we're going to defringe, come over to defringe, click on the eyedropper, move in. It is too neutral to defringe. Okay, let's see here. Come into, nope, it's not going to allow me. Okay, so be it. So we'll skip defringing. We're going to go back to originally what I was doing. We're going to push that blacker. We're going to push our contrast up. There we go. There we go. I'm going to bring my saturation down. So I'm trying to get to my stars being white, and that's also helped to eliminate some of the smaller background stars that I really don't need. And then I'm going to go in here one more time, just play with it. Let's see. Again, I'm taking down that saturation a bit more. I really prefer to have white stars. I could use some other tools to shrink the stars further, but this is just a quick tutorial, so we'll leave this here. I'm going to left click on the hue saturation, press the Alt key, tell it directly to apply to this threshold layer that we originally had set our black and white. Now I'm going to come up here to my tonal contrast layer, turn that back on. Now what I need to do is bring my stars through, and I will use screen. Now oftentimes people will mention using lighten, and others will talk about using screen. On this particular image, because we have so much black, really doesn't matter lighten or screen, your choice. It's really not making any kind of a difference here. However, in images where I have a lot of bright red hydrogen alpha gas that's out there, what I have found is if I use lighten, I tend to get some black circles around my stars, where if I use screen, I don't. Again, because of the black background, it's not going to matter on this one, but you know, just know that. Okay, so anyway, going with screen. Now, one last thing that you can also do with this to help sharpen this up is I'm going to now hit Control, Shift, Alt, holding those down, and the letter E. This is going to bring up a layer where everything has been assembled and put together, and we can take this and we're going to call this High Pass. This is a way to add some additional sharpening in our image. It's ever so slight, but it helps. So anyway, called it High Pass. I'm going to come up here and go Filter, Other, High Pass. Normally I will do this with some images at 0.9. I have found that I like the 1.1 for doing nebulosity. And there we go. Now we're going to come back to this and we're going to set the High Pass to Overlay. And it adds in just a little bit of sharpening. You probably can't see it through YouTube, but it is there and it is ever so subtle. And then finally what I'm going to do is hit my crop, bring this in to get rid of the outside edges that kind of got chewed up a bit. There we go, and hit enter. And I am very happy with that. There we go. So, hope that helps for you. I found this works really well. I will do another tutorial doing exactly this with some hydrogen alpha gas just so you can see it. But anyway, I want to thank the original channel. I think it was called Peculiar Astro something. Anyway, you'll see it on the screen there. But I want to thank her. Like I said, she hasn't done anything in 2 years, but she's got some great stuff. Look around the channel, check it out, and there you go. I hope this helps. If you have any input, comments, thoughts, or something that you'd like to add, please throw it in the comments below. And if you liked what you saw, please, like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe. Till next time, I wish you clear skies and uneventful nights.